ground shake.
What is up, everybody? It's been Angie here from the Big Brain Brawl Boys, and today I'll be going over tips on how you guys can make a good club, and maybe even a club that gets on a leaderboard. So without further ado, let me tell you how exactly you do that. Alright, so step number one to creating a successful club is to actually create the club. You can go back and see how to create the club if you don't already know, but it's pretty straightforward. So before you create the club, I'll be giving a couple tips on how to draw attention to it. So don't pay attention to, the first tip I have to give is on naming the club. Don't pay attention to this if you want to name your club something close to heart, like a pet's name, or a meme, or like an inside joke. But anyways, if you're wanting to get as many people as possible into your club quickly, then I recommend naming your club something that people will search up. And I don't mean naming it something like Brawl Stars. So if you name it something like Brawl Stars, there's already plenty of clubs like that, and nobody will join your club specifically. You have to name it something somewhat original that people are going to search up. Like if you see somebody, not many clubs have named themselves a certain meme, then name yourself that meme, get a few members, and be the best club with that name, and then people will search it up, and you'll get probably an additional 5 or 6 members that you wouldn't have gotten already from not naming yourself that thing. So anyways, next thing has to do with the description. So people, once you get higher up, people are going to start checking out your club, and they're going to see the description. The description is what really draws people in. You need to make your club sound really fun and sound like people are going to have a good time in it. So make your description welcoming, nice, maybe create a Discord server, something to make people loyal. Anyways, those 2 tips are more optional. The description I highly recommend you make pretty good. But let's get into step 2. So anyways, there are 4 steps. Step 1 is creating the club. Step 2 is filling up the club. Step 3 is getting on the leaderboard, and step 4 is moving up on the leaderboard. But anyways, to complete step 2 of filling up your club. So first I'll state the obvious. You ask your friends to join, and you join on your alt accounts, just doing whatever you can to get more people in it. For me, I'd get around 10 people from that. You guys might get however many, maybe 7 or 12, I don't know. But anyways, here's the real tip number 1 for completing step 2. So you want to do the strategy where you friend randoms. You've probably gotten friend requests from randoms, and you'll see the option to friend request randoms. And once you do that, you can start recruiting them to join your club. And you might be thinking, only out of all the randoms I'll be able to friend, only 1 would want to join. Well, then next thing you know, if everybody does that, you doubled your total in your club. So you had 10, now you have 20. And then you tell them to tell their friends to join, and then you'll have 30. And then your club will start being recommended to people, because Brawl Stars will, when you're not in a club, Brawl Stars will start recommending clubs to you. So your club will get recommended to others, and then next thing you know, you have 35, 40, and then they'll keep telling their friends. And then hitting 40 is the hardest part of the whole entire thing. Hitting 40 members, in my opinion. Once you hit 40, you're gonna hit 90 if you do it right. You just keep you just make sure that you are making the club as fun as possible, maybe having weekly friendly games, whatever you want. And I mean, you should be having some fun too with it. And so basically, if you get people to be loyal, you won't lose any members, and at the same time, they'll be recruiting their friends. And sooner or later, the more people that join, the more people that are recruiting, the faster you're gonna fill up, and eventually you hit the 90s. And also, one last tip for step number 2 is you want to have somebody who's higher trophies in your club. This is because if the highest trophy player in your club has 8,000 trophies, then somebody with 10,000 trophies might see your club and be like, I'm not joining this. So you want to have a higher trophy player, so people with higher trophies feel comfortable joining. And anyways, once you hit 40, it'll be easier to get to 90. Now let's get into step 3. Step 3 is actually getting on the leaderboard. Once you've hit like a full out like 100 member club, you should be celebrating, because that's the hard part. Getting on the leaderboard is also pretty hard. Like, it's a slow process, but it's easier than you might think, and here's why. Once you hit 100, say like the lowest member in your club has 100 trophies, then maybe kick them, and like you want to start kicking the lower trophy players, and then like if the lowest trophy player has 100 trophies, maybe don't leave a rec and hope for somebody with 200 trophies to join. But let's say like somehow you have like a pretty good club going. This is just an example, like you might not have it this good, but like say the lowest trophy player in your club has 1,000 trophies. Then you can start kicking them, but I recommend leaving the rec at 1,000 trophies in hope of somebody with 1,800 trophies to join. Like say like somebody was like with 1,100 trophies, kick them, leave the rec at 1,000, and hope for somebody with 1,800 to join. You always want to leave the rec as low as possible while you still have the possibility to gain trophies in your club. And this is because you don't want to limit anybody from joining your club. If you do this, it'll slow down the process. So leave the rec as low as possible. Don't be like, oh my gosh, I filled up my club and I'm going to make the rec 6,000 trophies, because that's not what you want to do at all. So once you start kicking people, keep in mind, people are still going to be recruiting people. So you're going to get some like some players to join with like 5,000 trophies, and then sooner or later you'll be like eliminating a lot of the lower trophy players. And as I said, you want to keep the rec as low as possible. Keep kicking people, encourage people to start grinding, and then next thing you know, the lowest trophy player in your club will have like 2,000 trophies. Again, this is a slower process because like you'll be kicking and recruiting and slowly rising the rec. But if you do this, it's the quickest way, slowly rising the rec, recruiting, and so on. And remember, the random strategy still applies. There's so many strategies to recruit higher trophy players. And so once you finally hit like a certain point where you're starting to show up on the leaderboard, like you go to US leaderboard and you see that your club's like 500, say, the way that you're going to draw attention is you want to have your rec has to be the lowest. Like say the 499th best club in the US has their rec at like 10,000 trophies. You want to have yours lower than that. Like say like the lowest trophy player in your club has like 9,200. You want to kick them, leave the rec at 9,000, and then probably somebody with like 9,600 will join. And it's these small gains like that that'll really help you go up on the leaderboard. Because you want to draw attention to your club and you don't want to limit anybody. Like I was in a club, right, and they were 180th in the US. They were 90th in the US. They left their rec at 16,000. I joined because they were the lowest rec. They kept constantly kicking people, but leaving their rec at 16,000. And next thing you know, they're 40th in the US. Like, this strategy really, really works. Leaving the rec as low as possible. And keep recruiting and having a good time, because most people start a club to have a good time, not to get on a leaderboard, but just to have a fun time with 98 people. Because having a 98 person club when you're the leader is absolutely awesome. I'd love that. It's a bit late for me to start. I've already joined a pretty good club. Don't really feel like leaving it. But yeah, so let's go over a summary real quick. So you want to be getting your friends to join. You want to get randoms to join. You want to get them to recruit their friends. Then next thing you know, your club will be recommended. You have to get people to stay loyal. You just have to keep recruiting people. You have to have a higher trophy player in your club to draw attention to it. Then once you start to finally fill up, then you start kicking people while leaving their rec as low as possible while still recruiting higher trophy players. Then as you start to gain up, you also still have to make sure people are loyal, like the higher trophy players are loyal. You have to keep kicking, keep leaving the ref as low as possible. So on, so on, so on. Then eventually you'll end up like closer to a leaderboard. Then you want to leave your rec lower than your competitors do, because it'll draw more attention to your club and will speed up the whole entire process of getting more higher trophy players in, because really only like 1,000 trophies will make the difference between, say, like 500th or 499th. So if you can get like somebody with like 500, like 2 people with 500 more trophies than your lowest 2, then you'll probably surpass the 499th or whatever. And so yeah, that'll do it for this video. I'll be going over the Big Brain Brawl Boys news, but if you don't want to listen to that, bye. Alright, so for the Big Brain Brawl Boy news, I pulled Crow out of a big box. It was a 1 in 1,000 chance. Qualton hit 20k. This was kind of old news, but still worth mentioning. Also, me, a nameless boy, and Quatson won the championship challenge 15-3. The last game was absolutely insane. The most crazy game I've ever played in. It'll be on YouTube soon, I promise. And nothing crazy other than that has happened. Quatson pulled Sprout, and a nameless boy has been pulling some brawlers. He also got Sprout. And so yeah, that's Big Brain Brawl Boy news. Thank you for sticking with me through this long video, and I'm out.